The room was silent, but Obinna's heart was anything but still. On his table lay a photograph, a picture. Written boldly on the back in red ink were the words, "Run." A cold shiver ran down his spine. He turned instinctively toward the narrow window. Just outside, standing near the alleyway, was a figure in a hood, motionless. Before Obinna could react, the shadow disappeared into the darkness. Rushing outside, he scanned the area, but there was no one. The hooded figure had vanished, leaving only fear behind. The next morning, Obinna made his way to Amaka's place, determined to tell her everything. But as he approached, he saw her standing outside, laughing softly with a man. The man's structure, the hooded sweatshirt, everything matched the figure he had seen last night. Obinna's instincts kicked in. He quickly hid behind a nearby car, watching from a distance. Neither Amaka nor the man noticed him. Without a sound, he turned and walked away, heart pounding. The following day, Amaka visited his house. Obinna, still unsettled, didn't mention what he saw. Instead, he said urgently, "I think we should move faster with the investigation. I don't know why, but I feel like time isn't on our side." Amaka nodded, concern written on her face. They decided to retrace their steps, starting with the area beside the rail where the dead bodies had been found. Obinna remembered a small store near the scene. Maybe someone there saw something. But when they arrived, the store was gone. Nothing remained but an empty lot. Just then, a friendly aboki selling fruits nearby called out to them. "You dey find that store? Them don move go Mokola since." "Do you know where exactly in Mokola?" Obinna asked. The man gave them directions with a smile. "Just ask for Mama Tunde's old provision store. You know go Miss Am." He chuckled. "Make una buy mango now. Sweet like honey." They laughed and promised to return. Later, aboki, "We dey rush," Amaka said. They followed the directions to Mokola and eventually found the store. Inside was a middle-aged man arranging goods on a shelf. Obinna stepped forward. "Good day, sir. Please, we're investigating something. Years ago, near the railway, some bodies were found. You used to run a store there, right?" The man paused, eyes narrowing. "I remember that incident. That was the day I closed that shop for good. I still can't forget it." Obinna leaned in. "Did you see anything unusual?" The man nodded slowly. "Yes. When they carried the bodies, the men who carried the bodies away, they all wore shirts with a logo on them. It looked official, but I can't remember what the logo looked like anymore." He paused, thinking, then added, "Maybe my wife will remember. She was also in the store that day, and she notices things better than I do." Amaka asked, "Could you call her now?" He shook his head, holding up a dead phone. "Battery's gone, but don't worry. Come back early tomorrow. I'll ask her tonight." They thanked him, and he smiled. Obinna and Amaka arrived at the store early the next morning, just as promised. But what they met was horrifying. The man they had spoken with lay lifeless on the floor, eyes wide open in terror. Blood pooled beneath him. Fear gripped them both. Amaka gasped and turned away, trembling. Obinna, paralyzed for a moment, managed to pull out his phone and call the police. Just as they were about to leave the scene, something caught Obinna's eye. A piece of paper half tucked under the old sofa. He bent down and picked it up. Scrawled in shaky handwriting were two haunting lines. The name on the badge is MTK. Run for your dear life if you wish to live. The message had clearly been written in a rush, likely by the man himself, moments before he was killed. Obinna looked at Amaka. "MTK, why does that sound familiar?" Amaka's eyes widened. "Isn't that the name of that international hospital? MTK Medical Group?" Obinna nodded slowly. Could it be connected? They didn't wait to find out. Fear clutched their hearts as they fled the scene. A few days later, Obinna and Amaka devised a new plan. If MTK Hospital was involved, they needed to get inside, without suspicion. They applied for cleaning jobs under fake identities. It wasn't hard. The hospital was large and frequently short-staffed. For the first few days, everything appeared normal. The staff was cordial, and no one paid them much attention. But Obinna knew how to wait. Then one afternoon, as he was cleaning a narrow corridor near the storage wing, he saw something unusual. A well-dressed bodyguard approached a plain wall and with a swift motion pressed a hidden button. To Obinna's shock, the wall parted into two, revealing a steel door. The bodyguard began carrying something toward the door. Before it closed, Obinna darted in, slipping silently through the opening. What he saw nearly made him stagger. Below the hospital, an underground factory. A sprawling, dimly lit chamber where men and women worked in silence, producing and packaging hard drugs. The air was thick with the smell of chemicals. His heart pounded. He had seen enough. Obinna managed to sneak out without being noticed and rushed back to tell Amaka everything. They immediately called Inspector Kofi, urging him to arrange a raid. The next day, accompanied by the police, Obinna and Amaka drove to the hospital. Sirens wailed. Officers poured into the building. Panic spread. But when they reached the underground space, there was nothing. The wall was solid. No secret button, no door, no factory, nothing. Kofi turned to Obinna, visibly angry. Are you joking with me? Do you know what this stunt has done to our credibility? This investigation is over. You're on your own now. Obinna clenched his fists as Kofi walked away. He couldn't believe it. It was all gone, erased like it never existed. That night, Obinna's mind spun with confusion and betrayal. He couldn't let it go. Something wasn't right. Too many signs. Too many games. He went to Amaka's apartment, moving in complete silence. She was sitting on the sofa when he suddenly grabbed her from behind, wrapping his arm around her neck. She struggled. Obinna, please. His voice was cold and low. Why have you been sabotaging me? Why has everything gone wrong since you came into my life? Who sent you? Amaka choked for breath, tears in her eyes. Please. Obinna, I didn't want to hurt you. He stared at her, trembling. The anger in him fought with the emotion he'd tried so hard to suppress. Then he let go. She collapsed into the sofa, gasping for air. I'll tell you the truth, she whispered. But it's not my fault. Her voice broke. Tears streamed down her cheeks. I never wanted it this way, but I don't want to die either. Obinna watched her silently. Amaka took a deep breath and began. MTK Hospital, they run an orphanage too. That's where I grew up. Me and my sister. She looked away, grief in her eyes. The man in the hoodie, he's part of them. My sister was once given a mission. She refused. She was killed for it. I wanted to avenge her, she said, but I had no choice but to keep going. After you got out of prison, they assigned me to you. Obinna's mouth parted in shock. They planned our meeting at the store. I was supposed to monitor everything. I reported your every move. His heart shattered. I thought I had a companion, he said bitterly. I was even beginning to care about you. And you were just a snake under green grass. He stood, wiping tears from his eyes, backing away. Amaka cried. Obinna, I swear, I didn't want this life. But Obinna didn't turn back. He walked out, leaving her in tears and silence. Weeks passed. Obinna and Amaka had no contact. The silence between them was heavy, but Amaka's heart couldn't bear it any longer. One night, she decided to go plead with him, face to face. As she walked along the roadside, she saw Obinna standing at a suya spot, quietly waiting for his order. He saw her too, but he pretended not to. He turned his face away, acting like she was invisible. She took a deep breath and began to cross the street toward him. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a speeding car came hurtling down the road. The car struck Amaka violently, throwing her to the ground. Obinna's eyes widened in horror. Amaka! People around screamed and rushed to the scene. A few men tried to chase the fleeing car, but it disappeared into the night. Obinna knelt beside her bleeding body. Call an ambulance! Somebody help! She was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. 2 agonizing weeks passed. Amaka remained in a coma. Obinna rarely left her side. He would sit beside her hospital bed for hours, holding her hand and watching over her, filled with guilt, pain, and confusion. Then, one afternoon, she stirred. Her fingers twitched, her eyes slowly opened. Obinna had dozed off beside her, but she gently touched his cheek. He jolted awake, stunned. Amaka? Her lips trembled. I'm sorry. Tears welled in his eyes. He took her hand. Don't say anything, he said softly. I've already forgiven you. She broke into tears. They leaned into each other and embraced. A long, quiet hug filled with pain and healing. A few days later, she was discharged from the hospital. Obinna came to pick her up personally. Though they tried, all efforts to trace the hit-and-run driver led nowhere. It was clear someone wanted her gone. Amaka turned to him one evening and said, Obinna, we have to continue digging. We're too close. But Obinna shook his head. No, I can't put you in danger again. I'm already in danger, she replied. But if we stop now, then all of this, all the lives lost, it'll be for nothing. He looked into her determined eyes, and after a long pause, he nodded. Once again, they returned to MTK Hospital, under another disguise. For weeks, Obinna tried to find the hidden wall again, the same one that had opened before. But it was like it had never existed. Then, one day, as he was mopping the lower hallway alone, an elderly cleaner approached him. She looked at him up and down. "You came here last month, didn't you?" Obinna froze, shocked. "How do you know?" "Relax," she whispered. "I only want to help." She looked around to make sure they were alone, then leaned in. "I know everything about this organization," she said. "I've been working here for 15 years. I stayed to gather what I could. My son was used to test their drugs. He died." Obinna clenched his fists, his heart pounding. The woman continued. "Once every 3 months, 3 powerful chiefs come here. They hold secret meetings and oversee the drug trade and money distribution." Obinna's voice was tight. "When is the next one?" She glanced at the calendar. "Tomorrow." The next day, Obinna contacted Inspector Kofi again. Though skeptical, Kofi agreed to help, one last time. With Amaka and several officers, they stormed the hospital with new evidence and determination. The guards were taken by surprise. Inside, chaos erupted. The chiefs, alerted in time, rushed out and boarded a waiting chopper on the hospital roof. Within moments, they flew away, escaping justice. But the rest of the operation crumbled. All guards, doctors, and workers involved were arrested. The illegal labs, hidden compartments, and drug stockpiles were all exposed. Yet the chiefs, the masterminds behind it all, had vanished once again, like shadows in the night. The chopper had flown. The chiefs had escaped. They arrived at a hidden underground vault, a massive room buried beneath an abandoned compound where they kept billions of dollars from their illegal operations. Frustration boiled in the room. One of the chiefs slammed his fist on the table. "I warned you all. We should have eliminated that Obinna long ago. He's becoming a real thorn." Another nodded. "We can't afford more slip-ups. This ends now." They devised a chilling plan. Kidnap Amaka and use her to lure Obinna in. No more games. It was time to clear all obstacles, permanently. A few days later, Obinna arrived at Amaka's house to visit her, but the moment he stepped in, his heart dropped. The house was a mess. Furniture overturned, bloodstains, broken glass. "Amaka!" he shouted, running through the rooms. No response. Suddenly, a phone rang on the table. He picked it up. A cold, distorted voice crackled through. "If you want her alive, come to the place we'll describe, alone." Obinna listened silently as they gave directions to the underground vault. He agreed, but as soon as the call ended, he dialed Inspector Kofi. They devised a quick plan. Obinna would go in alone, pretending to comply. If anything went wrong, he'd signal Kofi to storm in with backup. Later that night, a knock came at Obinna's door. He opened it and froze. Standing there was the hooded man he had seen weeks ago in the hallway. "You," Obinna muttered. The man lifted his hands. "Relax, I'm not here to fight." They sat and spoke in hushed tones. The man revealed little, but hinted that Obinna was walking into a trap within a trap. Then, just as suddenly, he left. Obinna prepared for the mission. He arrived at the underground location. The air was damp and heavy with tension. He descended the old metal staircase carefully. At the bottom, the scene made his blood run cold. Amaka, tied to a chair, beaten, blood on her face. "Amaka!" He ran toward her, but was smashed to the ground by a guard. Laughter echoed around the vault. The 3 chiefs emerged from the shadows, dressed in black robes and gold rings. "Look at you," one mocked. "Still playing hero? You're nothing but a fly." Another smirked. "You should have stayed behind bars. We put you there for a reason." Obinna struggled to his knees. "You're monsters." "Shut him up," one barked. Just then, Obinna shouted, "Kofi, now!" Kofi appeared with a gun raised. "Drop your weapons." But the chiefs only laughed, and then Kofi laughed too. Obinna's heart stopped. "No, no." Kofi smirked. "I told you to stop this madness, Obinna. You brought this on yourself." Obinna's chest tightened. Betrayal. The chiefs ordered the guards to begin packing the cash into suitcases. "Lock them in the vault," one chief said. "Let them rot in the dark with nothing." 2 guards approached. Obinna suddenly burst into laughter. Everyone paused. "You really think I'd walk into this place alone?" he said. Suddenly, loud voices rang above. "Police! Freeze!" Dozens of officers stormed in, from a different station, fully armed. The chiefs turned to Kofi in rage. "You betrayed us?" But Kofi looked just as shocked. "What?" "No. Obinna turned to him with fire in his eyes. Don't give me that. I was warned by the hooded man. He told me not to trust you. The chief guards dropped their weapons. The room was surrounded. Obinna and Amaka embraced, tears and relief in their eyes as the criminals were handcuffed. You did it, Amaka whispered. No, Obinna said. We did it.